on CTV3 News, BTL announces severance payments to ex-employees following court ruling amid negotiations dispute. In the area of the economy, believes consumers' confidence edges up in early 2026, but who's willing to spend the most, we'll tell you. And consumer price index remains stable over the first month of 2026. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, February 26, 2026.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
ExpressNet now has up to 400 megabytes of high-speed internet. Choose the speed that fits you. From faster browsing to faster gaming. Connect more devices at once. Or bundle it with Express Plus and HBO Max. Internet and streaming entertainment, all in one.
Yeah, faster starts here.
Sign up today at any Centaur office or contact us to get started.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
We recently formed MOUs with the American Hotel and Lodging Education Institute, which is the education arm of the American Hotel and Lodging Association, and also with the American Culinary Federation to do culinary training. We're here to celebrate our accomplishments. This is not about replacing Belizean cuisine. This is about, we want the Belizean cuisine, we want the Belizean richness and diversity. Right? So this is about your skills. You all know what you all learned, so it's about transferring that skill.
We want to inspire this career because, you know, it's amazing. You love what you do, right? And it really is something that I think we can inspire other young Belizeans to undertake. And it's now part of your responsibility as those who have received this training and see a pathway for greater things.
Just to put it into perspective, there's only about 6,000 certified executive chefs in North America. There is only 69 certified master chefs in the world. There is less than 10 certified executive pastry chefs in this entire world. And you know, in Belize, we have 3 sitting in this room.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Good evening with your news also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Belize Telemedia Limited BTL today held a press conference to address the ongoing severance matter, confirming that it will proceed with payments to all qualified former employees despite a breakdown in negotiations with the Belize Communications Workers for Justice BCWJ. During the briefing, company representatives explained that discussions with the BCWJ collapsed after the parties were unable to reach common ground. According to BTL, the union was seeking to secure the same benefits obtained by the litigants in the court matter without pursuing legal action themselves. The company maintains that it could not agree to those terms.
Your final question regarding, in our view, why it broke down. I go back to, I'll say two things. I go back to, I think there was an expectation we realized, despite our improved positions and offers along the way, that there was an expectation that, well, we're moving, they're moving, so we could get more and we deserve what the others got from going to court. And I think that fundamental difference in opinion that you should get exactly what those who went to court get, even though we're not at court and you're not giving up anything, is a big disconnect. And two, I will put it mildly to say that the manner in which we were engaged this last time around, this second meeting, the tone, the spirit, the lack of professional expertise as we would want to see it was what we were engaged with. And we recognize that for those two reasons, being so far apart, you're trying to get the 6% and everything that comes with a court judgment, along with the approach, is not the spirit in which we can reasonably negotiate. And that is why, in our view, for those two reasons, it broke down. And why we're here today, to tell everyone in Belize that the company wants to move forward without delay and settle with everybody in the same manner. So whether you are being represented by BCWJ, whether you write on your own to the mailbox, whether you come through an attorney, whatever it is, BTL's board has approved that we want to pay, and we want to pay in this manner, and we think it's reasonable to give the severance and interest from November 2025, when the judgment was handed down, to whenever we actually cut a check for persons.
BTL's board of directors has since taken the decision to pay severance to all former employees who qualify under Section 183 of the Labor Act. However, the company emphasized that this decision does not constitute an admission of liability.
So for severance pay, an employee qualifies for severance pay once they have completed at least 5 years of continuous employment with the employer, and the employer terminates that employee for reasons that do not amount to dismissal. Or if the employee retires on medical grounds because after having completed 5 years of continuous employment. And for gratuity equal to severance pay, the employee is required to complete at least 10 years of continuous employment with the same employer, and that employee resigns from that employment after having completed that 10 years of continuous employment. So some of you may know that from the Irvin Marin judgment that the Caribbean Court of Justice decided that retirement age at Belize Telemedia Limited, which is 55, the CCJ has determined that that is a termination by BTL. And because it's a termination by BTL which has occurred after the employee has completed at least 5 years of continuous employment, that employee is entitled to severance pay. Otherwise, if you look at Section 183(1), it speaks of retiring at 60. But because the court looked at our retirement age at Belize Telemedia Limited and how that retirement age was arrived at, the court determined that it is a termination
without cause by BTL. And as I mentioned to you earlier, gratuity equal to severance pay is where the employee has completed at least 10 years of continuous employment and resigns from the employer. We're currently assessing over 500 employees, and you have to appreciate that BTL gets requests almost every day, and so the numbers are dynamic. And we're doing our best to process them as quickly as they come, and now people who have worked, now former employees who have worked for us and who left more than 6 years prior, know from this press release what is required of them to get their matter processed by BTL and reviewed and processed by BTL.
The company also confirmed that it will pay interest at a rate of 6%, calculated from the date of the Caribbean Court of Justice ruling to the date of the severance payment is made. BTL stressed that the payment of this interest is being done voluntarily and has not been mandated by the court.
I also need to add that interest is not as of right. This interest which litigants get comes from statute, from the Senior Courts Act, and you have to plead it. And you plead it in your claim at the court, and you succeed in your claim, and the court determines your interest under that provision of the Senior Courts Act. So the company paying interest now is actually the company paying beyond what it is required to pay, because these matters have not gone to court. Only the matter of Irvin Marin and his fellow litigants went to court. And that gives you full context as to why.
BTL reiterated that it has fully complied with the CCJ's judgment and described the move as part of its commitment to resolving the matter in a fair and reasonable manner. Meanwhile, legal BTL stated that the decision to make payments was not influenced by external pressure. Instead, counsel said the move was made in the best interest of the company after careful consideration by the board.
You have to remember that BTL is managed by its board of directors. Our board of directors know and understand their fiduciary duties, which include acting in the best interest of the company. And the board, in its wisdom, decided that notwithstanding the limitation period, and even though BTL is not admitting liability, it is in the best interest of the company to settle these severance payments to our former employees who left more than 6 years prior, because these former employees helped build this company and make it what it is today. And the company is in a position where it is able to pay these severance payments, even though the company is not admitting any liability, and even though the limitation period applies. And the company values its position as a good corporate citizen, and if the company is able to meet these payments, the company has decided to pay these severance payments to our former employees. So to answer your question, Marisol, it is not because of pressure from external sources, whether it is from the government or whether it is from demonstrations or from the media. The board took an independent decision which was based on what is in the best interest of the company, and you also have to appreciate that it is in the best interest of these former BTL employees, because they won't have to spend money to go to court and pay lawyers. BTL is going to honor these severance payments once our former employees who left more than 6 years prior meet the criteria in Section 183 of the Labor Act.
One of the issues raised during discussions has been the question of taxation and severance payments. BTL indicated that the Belize Tax Service has already provided clarification on the matter and that the company will act in accordance with that guidance.
BTL would have withheld taxes based on previous advices from the Belize Tax Services. I think everyone can appreciate that the call for an assessment or reassessment of how the taxes should be treated. And BTL has certainly asked. I know BCWJ, attorneys, many have asked. And so I think based on where we are at this point in time, the tax services had to engage their own legal advices and has now come to a position in light of the CCJ judgment as to how those taxes should actually be treated. So we have met with them. They consequently sent us the letter that you referred to, and we are very clear and guided by what they have said should be done, and we have all intentions to arrange a refund for all of those persons as per the letter, or those instances as per the letter that they have said taxes should not be withheld from interest for any reason, and taxes should not be withheld from those who effectively lost office. So basically what they're saying is, depending on how you exit, they will recognize it as a gain from employment or a loss of office. So if you had resigned or you had voluntarily exited a company, that's tantamount to resignation, and therefore the taxes would be withheld. If you were terminated without cause, if you retired because the CCJ judgment recognizes the retirees as termination, they are saying in those two instances then, you should not tax. So where BTL had initially taxed, we have all intentions to arrange the refund and process it in very short order so that persons could get back their monies.
The company is expected to begin processing payments for qualifying former employees with interest included once eligibility has been confirmed. The latest report from the Statistical Institute of Belize reveals that the country's overall consumer prices remained largely stable in January 2026, with a marginal increase of just 0.4% over the previous year. The Consumer Price Index CPI for January 2026 stood at 119.86, up slightly from 119.81 in January 2025, indicating a period of relative price stability across most sectors. While the overall inflation rate was minimal, certain categories experienced notable price increases. The food and non-alcoholic beverages sectors rose by 0.9%, primarily due to higher prices for fresh meats and cereal products like bread and bakery items. Prices for non-alcoholic beverages also saw significant hikes, with instant coffee surging by 9.7%, fruit and vegetables juices up by 2.3%, and soft drinks increasing by 1.3%. Housing costs also contributed to upward pressure, with 0.8% rise driven by increased rental prices and higher LPG prices. Contrasting the upward trend in some sectors, the transport category experienced a notable decrease of 4.5%. This decline was primarily due to significant drops in fuel prices across all types of motor vehicle fuels. On a month-to-month basis, consumer prices dipped slightly by 0.5% from December 2025 to January 2026. Price changes varied significantly across Belize's municipalities. Punta Gorda Town experienced the highest inflation rate at 2.6%, with residents facing increased costs for food, restaurant services, household items, and personal care products. Conversely, Orange Walk Town saw a 1.9% decrease in consumer prices driven by reduction in fuel, certain food items like tomatoes and onions, and women's clothing. However, residents in Orange Walk did face higher costs for healthcare services and home repairs. In relation to Consumer Confidence Index, the latest figures from the SIB reveals a slight uptick in consumer optimism at the start of 2026, signaling cautious but positive sentiment about the country's economic outlook. In January 2026, the national CCI stood at 48.3, marking a modest increase of 0.9% from December 2025, 47.9. This small rise suggests a cautiously improved consumer outlook, driven largely by positive shifts in perceptions about the present economic situation and confidence in purchasing durable goods. Age-wise, the most notable improvement was among the 35 to 44 age group, whose confidence surged by 7.8%, reaching 50.5. In contrast, the 25 to 34 age group experienced a 4% decline, with confidence falling to 48.1. Among males, confidence remains relatively stable, increased by just 0.2%, while among females, it grew by 1%. Coming up next, Belize hosts a major national partners forum to accelerate climate action and sustainable development. Stay tuned.
The Orange Walk Town Council is inviting applications from suitably qualified and motivated individuals to fill 5 garbage fee collector positions within our revenue department. Minimum requirements: high school diploma, friendly and people-oriented personality, tech-savvy, must own reliable transportation, preferably a motorcycle, honest and dependable. Interested applicants are asked to submit the following documents: application letter, copy of high school diploma, valid social security card, 2 character references. Applications must be submitted in person to the Orange Walk Town Council office by February 20th, 2026. Join our team and contribute to keeping Orange Walk clean and organized.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails, paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
The Civil Registry Department and Vital Statistics Unit provides comprehensive information services to assist citizens in obtaining official documentation related to key life events. You can apply for birth, death, marriage, adoption, or deed poll certificates for records that have already been registered. You can also request tailored information extracts or certified copies of documents about specific life events. All Vital Statistics information services are available through the new Civil Registry and Vital Statistics System, CRVS. You can complete all services online from the comfort of your own home, or if you prefer face-to-face interaction or need additional support, you can visit their nearest office to complete any service. The new CRVS, digitally connecting citizens to all vital statistics services. Visit crvs.gov.bz today to access our services.
There's a saying I often return to, and that is a Chinese saying, that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Today, Belize chooses now, because Belize has always lived under the shade of the tree. Remember Sobumbre Floreo. Our forests, mangroves, rivers, and farms are not just features of our landscape, they are part of who we are as a people. They protect us from storms, feed our families, support livelihoods, and anchor our resilience in a changing climate. But we also know this truth: what we do not protect, we will eventually lose.
Greening Belize, 1 million trees for climate and sustainable development. Our forest cover is declining, especially after the fire season. What will be achieved? Restore and reforested lands, significant increase in hectares restored by 2035. Enhance carbon sequestration. We'll have improved data, mapping, and reporting systems with this. Institutional readiness, feasibility study and design for a national forestry incentive program. Community mobilization, which will build capacity and increase participation nationally, and improve governance.
For all environmentally conscious individuals and groups, CBOs, NGOs, community organizations, universities, come in to do their part to plant trees to assist in the restoration initiative for the country of Belize.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
Primera llegada con peligro por parte de Paul. Vemos la repetición. Llegan los linderos del área. La número 7 llegó con todo. Estamos en vivo, en directo a través del canal 53 de Centaur. Izquierda viene cámara. El número 7 saca el disparo largo. El disparo de cámara.
Nosotros somos los campeones, estamos listos para National.
Today, the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Solid Waste Management hosted a pivotal National Development Partners Forum, bringing together key stakeholders and collaborators from across the sector. The event provided an opportunity for invited partners to engage directly with senior officials from the ministry's department, who showcased a range of ongoing initiatives spanning climate change mitigation, forestry management, and biodiversity conservation. The primary objective of the gathering was to foster collaborative efforts by identifying synergies and potential areas of partnership. Participants were encouraged to explore avenues where they can support and enhance the ministry's efforts towards sustainable development goals.
We want to continue this partnership and collaboration because we have recently produced our NDC 3.0. We have a large gap of over $1 billion for the next 5 years. So we want to see how we can get assistance so that we can implement our NDC. If we just have it as paper, then it's just paper, it's there on the desk. But if we can get funding and collaboration from them, sometimes it's not only in cash, but sometimes in kind, because we can get assistance through institutional collaboration, and so that also helps. So basically is to show them what we have and try to bring them into some of the projects that we have. I mentioned that recently we have signed, the Prime Minister was in Mexico where they signed the tripartite agreement for the Calakmul agreement. And so that's Belize, Mexico, Guatemala. But it is a huge project. And we want to see how we can engage everybody that is in co-management throughout the country, because this is a large landscape project that looks not only at the landscape in terms of the forest itself, but also looks at culture because of the Maya communities that are in there, and how we will also be able to benefit from this, because it can't be that funding comes and maybe one country or two countries get, but we don't get. So we have to be able to do that.
According to Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Solid Waste Management, Orlando Habet, the forum also opened a window to delve into the Green in Belize project.
Planting the 1 million trees, which is just a portion of our larger restoration project. And we want to see everybody involved, because it's not only for the government to do, but it is private sector, NGOs, civil society, schools, universities, everybody to be involved.
As you may know by now, Belize has enforced comprehensive rules governing the movement of wide loads and large cargo, including homes and sustainable structures. Since August 2025, such transport activities are only permitted during nighttime hours, specifically from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. daily, to ensure safety and minimize disruptions. According to CEO in the Ministry of Transport, Chester Williams, the new regulations have been implemented without significant issues so far. However, efforts are ongoing to review and enhance the procedures aimed to further improve safety measures for all parties involved.
Yeah, everything has been going smoothly. We did add additional conditions to the wide load permit that has been issued to persons moving wide loads on our highways across the country. The objective is to make sure that it is done in a safely manner. Having proper lighting, loud hailers, escort back and front is important. And likewise, we've also said to them that they need to come together and create an ad sensitizing Belizean people, Belizean drivers in particular, what to expect when a wide load is moving, what they will see on the highway. So that from the infomercial that you would see, and when you see it on the highway happening, you'll know, well, you know what, this is a wide load in front of me or whatever, and then you'll be able to adjust your way of driving. We've also said that they need to put notice on social media, and if they can, on the different radio stations across the country to notify people that on this day, between this time and this time, a wide load will be moving on the Philip Woods and on the George Price Highway. Again, to make drivers know ahead of time that wide load will be moving on the road at a particular moment. So I believe the conditions that we have added to the permits is going to help to make the movement of these wide loads much safer.
According to the latest statistical from the Statistical Institute of Belize, the country's trade figures for January 2026 reveal a promising start to the year with notable increases in both exports and imports despite some decline in specific categories. The main contributors to this positive trend were banana and sugar, which experienced significant growth. Exports of bananas soared by $1.7 million from $6.1 million to $7.8 million, making it the primary driver of the overall increase. Pepper sauces also saw a remarkable rise, with earnings doubling from $0.4 million to $1.1 million, while revenues from black-eyed peas grew by $0.2 million. However, not all categories saw gains. Marine products, particularly lobster, declined from $3.9 million in January 2025 to $3.6 million in January 2026 due to reduced sales. Sugar exports also dipped by $0.2 million from $1.3 million to $1.1 million. Additionally, exports to CARICOM countries decreased from $4.3 million to $3.8 million, mainly due to lower sugar exports. The other European Union market saw a substantial increase of $2.8 million, driven by higher exports of bananas and sugar, totaling $4.9 million in January 2026 compared to $2.1 million the previous year. The United States also recorded higher earnings, up by $8.8 million, mainly from exports of conch and pepper sauces. And in the area of imports, Belize's imports for January 2026 totaled $271 million, reflecting an 11.7% rise of $28.5 million over January 2025 to $242.6 million. The increase was widespread across various categories, with machinery and transport equipment leading the growth. Other notable increases included the commercial free zone goods, which was up by $5.4 million, reaching $35.9 million, mainly from imports of jerseys, t-shirts, and tennis shoes. Chemical products increased by $3.4 million, totaling $24.7 million, driven by higher fertilizer purchases, while beverages and tobacco rose by $3.3 million to $10.4 million, mainly due to increased cigarette imports. Crude materials witnessed a $3.0 million rise, and other manufacturers increased by $1 million, mainly from prefabricated steel structures. St. Kitts and Nevis is currently hosting the 58th annual meeting of the Caribbean Community CARICOM Heads of Government, bringing together regional leaders to address pressing issues and strengthen regional cooperation. Today, the leaders participated in a dedicated retreat designed to foster dialogue of the challenges faced by Caribbean nations. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew, emphasized the importance of these private conversations noting that such environments often lead to significant process. Among the notable interactions, Prime Minister John Briceño met with Dr. Godwin. These engagements underscore the ongoing efforts to foster collaboration and shared solutions among Caribbean nations during this milestone meeting. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
From whiskeys and wines to elegantly crafted cocktails. Paired with charcuterie boards and perfectly seasoned steak bites, and much more. Perfect for celebrations, quiet nights, and every special occasion in between. 7 Notes Wine and Spirits, where every sip hits the right note.
When speed matters, every second counts. Get ahead with ExpressNet. Fast, reliable, ready when you are.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
The way some people are talking you'd never know, but the most blatant nepotism and fleecing of BTL took place under UDP when Dean Barrow was Prime Minister. Barrow placed his son Anwar on BTL's board in 2009 as soon as he nationalized the company, which would eventually cost Belizeans almost $650 million for shares barely worth $200 million. By 2014, Anwar was appointed executive chairman with extravagant salary and perks. Under him, BTL spent wildly on ventures that did not materialize and never brought any returns. Under the Barrows, BTL's profits plummeted from $38 million in 2009 to $17 million in 2019, and $10 million in 2020, as the company hardly paid dividends to government and people of Belize. Anwar Barrow has no moral authority to talk about BTL, as it was under his nepotistic rule, appointed by his father, that BTL was most blatantly fleeced.
They got so much things to say right now. They got so much things to say.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, text, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
This building that we have gotten, the Welcome Center, is not just walls and it's not just here to beautify the Punta Gorda town and as an extension the Toledo district and Belize, but it's also here to play a main purpose and a role, and that is to continue to promote our tourism sector in Belize. This provides us a platform and a venue for us to be able to do multiple things in working towards enhancing the tourism environment in Toledo and really showcasing it not only to locals but also to our international guests, which are paramount for us to continue to grow this industry.
This project, like others that we're working on throughout the country, was designed and is being delivered by Belizeans. We have spoken to the communities, we've spoken to tourism stakeholders and what needs to be done to ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure to improve the quality of the visitor experience.
Speaker Valerie Woods, chair of the small branches of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, CPA, and a member of its coordinating committee, attended a series of meetings this week with the CPA Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General, chair of the CPA, staff of the CPA Secretariat, and committee members at the CPA headquarters in London, United Kingdom. The meetings included briefing on the CPA's current work and review of its newly launched strategic plan. While in London, Speaker Woods also visited with Belize High Commissioner, Her Excellency Sherry Nisbet, and staff. The CPA works to strengthen parliamentary democracy, build the capacity of parliamentarians, and promote good governance across the Commonwealth. The Small Branches Network comprises 51 parliamentary jurisdictions, national and subnational, with populations of up to 1 million people. The National Meteorological Service of Belize, NMS, within the Ministry of the Public Service and Disaster Risk Management, in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and New Growth Industries, is hosting a 5-day participatory integrated climate service for the agriculture PICSA training of trainers from February 23rd to the 27th, 2026. PICSA is an innovative approach designed to build resilience at the farm level by strengthening decision-making through the integration of location-specific climate information with data on crops, livestock, and livelihoods. The approach emphasizes practical, hands-on tools that are easily understood and applied by farmers, while also exploring livelihood alternatives beyond on-farm activities. These include identifying and selecting suitable crop varieties, crop practices, crop management, livestock, and livelihood, including the Resource Allocation Mapping System, RAMS, and the Livelihood Options Tables. The training will engage key stakeholders and agricultural extension officers, equipping them with participatory tools and increasing understanding of climate information products, including historical climate information, interpreting short-term forecasts and warnings, and seasonal forecasts prepared by NMS and CIMH. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, February 27th, here on CTV3 News and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.